Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blub, and I'd like you to remember, it's only clickbait if it's not actually true. If it's a bat crap crazy title for this video, but reality is also in fact bat crap crazy, that's not my fault. So we are in the absolute insane world of the Trump administration. 4 months into the Trump administration out of a 4-year term. And who the hell knows what's going on? Again, this isn't even about politics anymore. I have a lot of viewers out there. They're like, Eli, stay out of politics. This isn't globalization versus isolation. This isn't, military adventurism around the world versus keeping our troops home. This is just bat crap, insane policy. Right? Again, 145% tariff rates against China doesn't make a damn bit of sense. 50% tariff rates against steel and I think aluminum. Yeah, one day he just woke up last week and went, I think we should have 50% tariff rates. And now we have 50% tariff rates. You can't really argue about the policy, because you're not really even sure what the hell the policy is, other than screwing the American people. But anyway, so right now there's insanity going on between Elon, Musk, and Trump. So Musk was brought in to run Doge, so he's able to run Doge for something like 130 days. Department of Government Efficiency, and basically he just went in and started firing everybody, because that makes half an ounce of sense, right? Emails went out to say basically, are you with us or not, initially, which were probably illegal. Then he went through and he just started firing people, and the idea was he was going to save $2 trillion in government expenses by just, castrating the government. Curiously enough, we do now have a castrated government, but we don't have $2 trillion in savings. I will keep trying to remind you, I know it's horrible to say, but it is true. You can be a stupid, evil bastard as long as you're efficient and effective. If you're efficient and effective, people will allow you to do a lot of horrible things. The issue is when you're a horrible, evil, nasty bastard and you're inefficient and ineffective, that's when everything kind of goes to hell. So anyways, Musk was in there doing whatever the hell Musk does. Nobody knows what Musk does anymore. He got booted out after 130 days because he had to leave. There's some federal regulation. The one federal regulation Trump actually cares about was kicking Elon Musk out. So he goes out. Trump and the Republicans are now trying to push through this big, beautiful spending bill, which, again, if you've been following along with the Trump administration for 4 whole months now, you probably know how that spending bill is. And so Elon Musk is now having a hissy fit over that spending bill and basically saying nothing matters if the United States goes bankrupt. So basically, Elon Musk's whole argument is, do whatever you have to do in order to keep the federal government from going bankrupt. And so the idea is this new spending bill is going to make the government go bankrupt. So anyways, this is the world as it was, yesterday. So Elon Musk then came out and basically said any Republican politician that voted for, congressperson that voted for this big, beautiful bill, that Elon Musk would intentionally go after them in the election cycle. So during the 2024 election cycle, basically Elon Musk spent a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, in order to help get Trump and other folks elected, and basically said he said he would turn his barrel of cash against anybody who votes for this big, beautiful bill. Trump then argued back. Then Musk started talking about impeaching Trump. Then Trump called him crazy. Now Elon Musk is talking about the Epstein files. Trump is talking about, canceling payments for things like SpaceX and all that. And then Musk shoots back that he'll just stop the Dragon SpaceX program, the human space program for SpaceX. And we are just in a complete and utter insanity. And so Steve Bannon comes out of nowhere. So Steve Bannon was the first chief of staff during the Trump's first administration, and is considered one of the thought leaders that actually got Trump elected initially. And so even though he fell out with Trump, so he was fired, Steve Bannon was fired by Trump during the first Trump administration, he's still a diehard like MAGA person, right? So the interesting thing now is that Steve Bannon is coming out and basically, or actually saying, Elon Musk should be deported from the country immediately. And now normally, I would not be doing this video. Normally, I would look at this and I'd go, oh, that's some juice. That's some juicy content right there. But no, I said, going forward for Eli the computer guy, I would only talk about topics that are actually relevant for the technology world. Again, when we talk about Harvard and we talk about Columbia University, again, if you are going through a STEM program and your university goes bankrupt, that's something that you should think about. Right? So at first, I look at this and it's like, well, that's some juicy stuff. But I guess I'll have to leave that to the Tim Pools of the world. I guess I'll have to leave that to the Louis Rossmans of the world. I'm not going to get involved here. But a funny thing has happened over the past 4 months. What used to be considered bat crap impossibly insane has become Tuesday. Has become Tuesday somehow. And I think this is an interesting thing to be thinking about. One, from the Elon Musk standpoint and everything that Elon Musk does touch in the United States. Love Elon Musk, hate Elon Musk. The fact of the matter is he touches a lot in the tech industry in the United States. And then also with the continued degradation of the American brand on the world stage. Again, one of the things that I've argued for a long time is that no matter how stupid America is, and many times we are very, 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 very stupid, thankfully, from my point of view, the world is almost always slightly more stupid. Again, one of the most screwed up things, truly, again, real world 101, one of the most screwed up things was during the Great Recession, right? We caused the Great Recession, right? The Great Recession, basically 110% created by the United States, right? With all our stupidity in the financial system. Well, the funny thing is, is we ended up doing pretty well through the Great Recession, all things told, versus many other countries, because when the economies around the world exploded, so our economy exploded, but many other economies exploded too, right? You had a lot of wealthy people, or people with money, in poor countries, in third world countries, or emerging markets. And basically they were looking at their money, and they were looking at the catastrophe of the financial markets in the world. And they were like, where can I put my money where it has the best risk profile, is least likely to go down to zero? And the most fucked up thing in the world is that when they looked around, they were like, I can either invest in my country and build something here, or put the money into the banks here. But they were so nervous about that, they actually figured it was better to put their money into the American financial system instead of their own. So not only do you have this worldwide financial calamity, but then the people in other places that have money then actually pump their money into the United States because they figured it's safer here than where they're at. And again, this is one of the things that causes massive, horrible distortions, but, benefits me. Benefits me, right? And again, I've talked about this with the dollar standard. I've talked with this, again, about education and so many other things, is, when the world is looking at their options, do they like the US dollar? No, they don't like the US dollar. Do they like a lot of the things that we touch? No. But, again, you're looking at your options. I mean, do you want to deal with the dollar or the rupee? Right? Like, yeah. So you're going to end up dealing with the dollar. The problem is that we're running into right now, again, with the Trump administration and before with the Biden administration, is that they're fundamentally destroying the value of the United States being the center of so many things. Again, we've seen this with the weaponization of the dollar, the weaponization of the SWIFT financial transaction system, the weaponization of export controls. And again, that was under Biden, right? The weaponization of so many things. And so the question that a lot of people really have to ask who are not in the United States is, how are those options weighing out? Again, we look at it with international people coming to the United States. And again, not talking about the people coming across the border illegally. Again, people voted for Trump, right? We have a problem with illegal immigrants across the southern border. Deal with illegal immigrants across the southern border. I didn't hear anybody complaining about foreign exchange students to Harvard. You know, I was never sitting there at a bar one night and somebody's like just drinking too many beers. I'll tell you, the brown country, it's those goddamn frogs going to Harvard. No, you just don't hear that shit, right? Nobody cared. Anyways, right? But attacking the people that are here legally. If you put something into your Facebook feed that the Trump administration doesn't like, you're a threat to our country, right? Words are a fundamental danger to the Trump administration. Again, Harvard and the rest of it. And again, my fear, right? And again, it's not a fear, it is what's happening, is basically this is simply degrading the value of the American brand and forcing people and countries around the world to basically disengage from us. Again, if you look at Canada, right, this whole horse shit of Canada being the 51st state. I have never, any Canadians out there, you gotta understand. Look, I sit down and I drink a beer and I keep my mouth shut. And when I do, I hear from amazing people and I hear from racist pieces of shit. Again, as I talk about it, I'll sit down and I'll listen to anybody because whatever, right? I have never in my life heard anybody talk about Canada being the 51st state. Never comes up, right? Trump administration is coming in. He keeps talking about Canada being the 51st state. Again, what is Canada doing? They are changing their logistic flows. Again, pipelines that should go straight from Canada into the United States and benefit us. They're now looking at putting those pipelines going from Canada to the West Coast so they can ship that crap over to China. Yeah, that's gonna weaken China. Hey, you know what's gonna weaken China? Yeah, giving them more access to natural resources. Yeah, China, man. We're going to make you drown in oil, and that'll show your economy something, right? But anyways, like all of these things are changing. And again, they're going to be changing for a generational standpoint. So the interesting thing now with Steve Bannon now talking about deporting Musk is one of the questions that international folks have to think about when they come to the United States is if they can actually talk about deporting Musk, the wealthiest person in the world. Again, get away from whether it should be or not. Wealthiest person in the world, runs Tesla, owns SpaceX, boring company, Neuralink, XAI, right? XAI is putting tens of billions of dollars into investment in the Memphis area, and again, for artificial intelligence and all that kind of stuff. If literally, with a straight face, significant people can start talking about Musk being an illegal immigrant that has to get deported, then what does that mean for anybody else? Right? That's one of the things you look at. One of the things you look at in life and you're like, well, you're the peon, so you're going to get crapped on. And then you look at the people that are up there and you're like, oh. But again, if the richest man in the world, you can talk about being deported, that's a hell of a thing. So anyways, from the Hill, and from other places, so I'm not just making this up. Bannon, Musk should be deported from the country immediately. MAGA insider and former White House advisor Steve Bannon called on President Trump to investigate Elon Musk's immigration status and deport the South African tech billionaire after the bitter implosion of the Trump's relationship with Musk. Quote, they should initiate a formal investigation of his immigration status because I am of the strong belief that he is an illegal alien and he should be deported from the country immediately, Bannon told the New York Times on Thursday. And again, in any normal time period, this would be coming from The Onion. Musk and Trump spent much of Thursday afternoon trading barbs over their dispute over Trump's agenda-setting One Big Beautiful Bill Act erupted into a blistering feud. During an appearance on his Bannon's War Room live webcast, Bannon continued to lob attacks at the former head of the White House's Department of Government Efficiency. Quote, Elon Musk is illegal and he's got to go, Bannon said. Quote, he's illegal, deport immediately. Quote, you're going to have to ship these other people home. Let's start with the South Africans, he said, alluding to the Trump administration sweeping immigration crackdown. Washington Post reported last year that Musk worked in the country illegally before gaining citizenship, prompting questions from Bannon and others about whether Musk's citizenship is legal. Bannon also noted Musk's reported drug usage. Remember how a couple of videos ago I was talking about Musk's drug usage and how that can be used to change the optics around the person. You take a person and you take him from being the genius visionary for a generation and turn him into a deranged, drug-addled deviant, right? And what have I been telling you? That seems to be what they're doing to Elon Musk. And again, what does that do to our society and what does that do to the technology professional? Bannon also noted Musk's reported drug usage as potential ammo for prompting his deportation. The New York Times reported last week that Musk's alleged use of ketamine and other substances on the campaign trail sparked concerns in Trump's circles, but Musk denied the claims. Quote, the drug thing is going to be investigated, Bannon said. Trump and Musk's relationship began to sour in recent days as Musk lashed out over Trump's backed mega bill currently under review in Congress. Musk called it a, quote, disgusting abomination, while Trump pushed back and defended the bill. Bannon said he supports Trump's latest suggestion that Musk's massive government contracts should be pulled. Quote, it needs dramatic action. I would pull all the contracts immediately, Bannon said. He also blasted Musk's abrupt and abrasive attack against Trump, which escalated Thursday to a series of accusatory posts. Quote, President Trump empowered him more than anyone has ever been empowered in this government, and his back promoted this guy even when people like me said, you're making a mistake, this is a bad guy, right? He's a bad guy. He's a drug user. He's an illegal immigrant. He's a bad guy. Look at how the optics are trying to be shifted around Elon Musk. He's going to turn on you. He's not with us. He's also totally incompetent, Bannon said on War Room. Quote, then as soon as President Trump comes out today and President Trump saying it in the nicest way possible about the bill, the guy gets up and starts tweeting the most vicious stuff you can tweet. Is Bannon and Trump, are they gonna cry because somebody's tweeting mean things? I guess that's a problem when you have a dog in the presidency. A dog in the presidency can't deal with mean tweets. If only we had a man as president of the United States. But anyways, that's not what we got nowadays. And so, yeah. I mean, curious is a word. Curious is a word. Because I know what you're saying right now. Eli, this is clickbait. It should be clickbait. This should be clickbait. I should get done recording this video and then hang my head low for putting out this kind of clickbait. But with what we've seen over the past 4 months, is it clickbait? Is it a valid concern to think Elon Musk might be chucked out of the country? Is it a valid concern with drug use or whatever else that the Trump administration might take real legal action against Elon Musk. And then what are the ramifications for that? Right? Again, Elon Musk has been a big proponent for artificial intelligence. And one of the things you have to think about with all these stuff in technology, a lot of it's inertia, a lot of it's storyline again. So he's been one of the big pushers. Again, XAI, whether you agree with it or you think it's fucking stupid, right? But anyway, he's been pushing that forward, right? That massive ass data center in Memphis that's poisoning the local poor people. Right? He's been building the hell out of that thing, right? Buying as many NVIDIA GPUs as he can get his hands on. What happens to XAI if Elon Musk goes to jail? I think that's been one of the most fascinating things with Elon Musk, again, whether it's been Tesla or whether it's been SpaceX, again, XAI, the Boring Company, all of these things, is people just have faith in him for some reason. Again, like when you talk about Twitter, right? I don't use Twitter anymore. To be clear, I stopped using Twitter like 5 years ago. Was it Ricardo Blake? Ricardo Blake sent me his 1040s for some reason, and I just got tired. I was like, no, this Twitter's gotten stupid. Anyways, I stopped using like 5 years ago. But again, because it was stupid. It was stupid. It was worthless. It didn't make a damn bit of sense. Again, I got interested in Twitter before Musk bought it just to see what was going on. I was interested in it right after Musk bought it to see what was going on. And then who the hell cares, right? There's nothing new or interesting about Twitter. Right? Again, it's actually fascinating. Again, being a content creator, right? This could have been an inflection point. Twitter could have been an inflection point. What if you had, again, that town hall for global communication, where you felt comfortable publishing videos, where you felt comfortable publishing text, where you felt comfortable communicating back and forth. But again, we haven't really seen any new valid services much coming out of Twitter. At the exact same time, again, we've seen his censorship policies just be abjectly insane, right? Again, the free speech absolutist, and he's banning journalists and closing accounts and all that kind of stupidity, right? But the interesting thing is, right, I bring up Twitter as one of his failures, but he has so much support. He has so much support. Twitter's not failing, right? He says that Twitter's successful. We don't know because there's no SEC filings anymore. He says Twitter's so successful, ergo Twitter's successful. Again, I look at it, I don't know what the hell anybody's talking about. I'm like, what? Whatever. But you think about that. Twitter's successful because Elon Musk is there. Tesla's successful because Elon Musk is there. SpaceX is successful. To be fair, SpaceX is successful. XAI will change the world because Elon Musk is there. The Boring Company, not really sure what's going on with that, right? But so many of these companies, the value in the company is so directly tied to Elon Musk. And if that value can be destroyed, again, the SEC can literally strip Elon Musk of the right to be CEO of a corporation in the United States. That can happen, right? And so what happens if he's stripped of that right? And either he can't manage these companies anymore, he can't connect to these companies anymore, or he just loses his shit at a certain point. I mean, you've been working 120 hours a day for 20 years, and then you get stripped of your right to be a CEO. You might just go truly bat crap crazy. And no shame. Yeah, right? He's a human being like everybody else. But what happens to things like the AI race? Like what happens if XAI implodes? Right? Again, think about how many processor GPUs NVIDIA is selling. Think about how much hardware is being sold, right? Think about how much promotion there is into XAI. And what if XAI literally just turns into a black hole? And then again, think about the story of AI, right? The story of AI has been humming along since ChatGPT came out. Again, to be clear, ChatGPT is not AI. It's an LLM. It's a component of an artificial intelligence type system, but it's not AI. It's just not. But there's been this story, and there's this story that this thing is going to take over the world. What happened if at a macro level you destroy Elon Musk that then destroys a company like XAI? What happens to the overall industry when that happens? Again, that's the kind of thing that I'm pondering. I am no Elon Musk fanboy. I think Tesla's on its way to bankruptcy. I'll be curious to see what the hell happens with XAI. I think Twitter failed a long time ago. I think Twitter failed before Elon Musk bought it. Elon Musk didn't kill Twitter. He just bought a dead company. Fair enough. I apologize. Musk did not kill Twitter. He just bought a company that was already dead. My mistake. Right? And where does this go? And again, and really also think about this too. When we have an administration, we have thought leaders for the administration that are willing to use legal force against business leaders that don't comply. I think about this. I got my criminal justice degree, and an interesting story came up years ago. And one of the old police officers was talking about how they had quotas, and he was actually talking about one of the problems in the U.S. Legal system, or law system, or whatever, criminal justice system. And basically, there were quotas to pull over so many people. Right, so you saw more of this years ago. I don't know what happened. I very rarely see speed checks or anything anymore. But anyways, there used to be much more speed checks and that type of thing. And anyways, there was this one police officer who came in and they're doing their morning brief or whatever, and he hadn't been hitting the quotas. He had not been hitting the quotas for how many cars he was supposed to stop in a given day. And it was like, but sergeant or whatever, captain, not enough people are violating the law. I'm only pulling over the people that violate the law. Ergo, I'm only getting so many people. That's why I'm not hitting the quota. And literally the captain or the sergeant leader or whatever basically pulled out the book of regulations, dropped it on the table, and said, if you can't find however much the quota was of people violating one of those regulations, then you don't know how to do your job. And again, it's an interesting problem with the land of the free, right? We are so efficient. One of the things we're efficient on is creating laws and regulations in a free country. And so it becomes curious here. Again, when you look at the tax system, when you look at so many components of our society, it's actually relatively easy to violate the law. It's actually relatively easy to commit a felony and not realize it. Or to realize it and just push it on the rug because honestly, who the hell cares, right? Some politician got paid to create a law 30 years ago, and that was the last time anybody cared about it. Until the Trump administration got in. So these laws are on the books. Even if the laws haven't been used. I remember that. I was at Bragg, again, back permanent party. And there was this black kid. And he had a ski mask on. So it had been cold. It's North Carolina, but Bragg still gets cold. It doesn't snow a lot, but it gets cold. And so there had been this black kid who had a ski mask on, right? And got arrested, gone through the whole process. And the interesting thing is there was a law against covering your face in Fayetteville. So it's Fayetteville, the city by Bragg, in public areas. He's like, well, he violated the law against covering his face. Well, the interesting thing with that law is it actually went back to the Klan. Again, the reason I'm talking about being a black kid, it went back to the Klan. So when they were having all these fucking Klan rallies and this Klan terrorism, they came up with these laws so that people wouldn't cover their face in public as they committed terroristic acts. Right? And the curious thing about this, and so this black kid gets dragged in, and he hadn't been breaking the law. He hadn't been breaking the law, just right. And gets dragged in. And so now he is being charged with this crime that had been created against the Klan. And again, one of the curious things that came up with that is, so the soldiers, because soldiers would go through Fayetteville and go through the area, and we had ski masks and that kind of stuff, again, for cold weather. And one of the big arguments that came up is why the fuck can the soldiers wear ski masks and a black kid can't? It's like, We're not going to get into that discussion in this particular video. But anyways, right? Again, so that law was still on the books and the law was still valid. Think about with how many of the CEOs that are out there that have violated or are violating some law. Think about the environmental laws out there. Things like in Maryland, they really care about things like riparian zones. So basically whenever you have a waterway, there's something called a riparian zone where basically they just want it to kind of be wild so that you don't have runoff that goes directly into the waterway. Well, you're building your multi-million-dollar house with your dock and everything else. It's really easy to damage a couple of things, right? Oops. Again, do most people care? No, they don't. They don't want the riparian zone clear cut, the whole 9 yards. But you are violating the law, and it may even be up to felony level, depending on what you cut and where. Can you imagine if a CEO doesn't get on his knees and blubber and cry and slobber over Trump's ring, that all of a sudden some government inspectors might be running around just making sure that that CEO is doing everything legally. Right? We're 4 months into the Trump administration. 4 months. Not even a year. Not even a year. We don't have 4 months left. We have over 3.5 years to go. And so, again, what does this look like just in general? What does this look like for our economy? What does this look like for our industry? What does this look like for the investors outside of the United States, looking at investing in the United States, looking at supporting the United States? How many question marks does that put up? Again, think about it. Think about if you're a multi-millionaire international investor. You're a multi-millionaire international investor, normally you feel fine. Normally you feel fine. You want to think a thing, right? You're a rich bitch, right? Sucks to be poor, but you ain't, right? Now think about this. Think about this. You're a multi-millionaire. You come to the United States. Your kid posts something about Gaza that isn't appreciated. How much danger are you and your family going to be in being in the United States? What is the risk of coming here? Again, if they're talking about deporting Elon Musk, so anyways, worst timeline, the worst timeline. I can't wait for the MCU to reset. Somebody get Kevin Feige on the phone. Hey, Kevin Feige, yeah, it is time to reset the MCU. Yeah, this timeline sucks. This timeline, this is just not a very good timeline. We just gotta redo this thing. Thanks, Kevin. Anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about the idea of Elon Musk being deported? What do you think about the idea of the Trump administration using legal tools to go after executives who do not submit? What do you think this does to our reputation on the international stage? And again, what do you think that this does for the economy? Again, think about that. Think about XAI. Think about the tens of billions of dollars that are being dumped into XAI. And now there's a wee bit of a question mark. Not just over that, but over a lot of things. Anyways, put your thoughts down below. And with that, see y'all later.